You can go ahead and roll, yeah.
Okay.
So I had a little they did really well.
All right, go ahead.
I'd like to welcome you to the Doni Glover Show. We have with us the one and only Delegate in Scott Phillips, Esquire. You only gonna get that kind of love here.
I appreciate that, Doni Glover. You my man.
Hey, listen, we go back to 1995.
Yes,
I think it was household finance.
That's exactly right.
And you gave me a scholarship, a check up Mondawmin Mall. And then you said, you gotta learn about this organization, Black Professional Man. And I didn't know anything about Drew, or Edwin, or these other cats you founded. Since then we've had Omar, Teddy,
Ricky Smith.
Bob Ingram,
Bob
God
Ingram.
rest his soul. And now you're Delegate.
Hey, man.
Where do we start? How was your session? Sine dies over.
Signing dies over. Session is good. I've had about 48 hours to reflect. It was a tough session, but it was a good session. As I look at the influence and the power of African Americans, and a number of things that got done that wouldn't have gotten done had it not been for the power of putting people in place. Yes.
You know, Scott, I remember you were you were strategic in your steps when you first got into politics. This is what, year
three.
Year three. Wings are spreading a tad. Know where the bathroom is.
Yeah, I figured that one out.
How does it help your work? You've been a lawyer for small businesses. I know Jimmy Britton is one of your favorite small businesses. You've worked for years to position these businesses. How is it now working from the policy side, the legal, the legislative side?
So that's a good question. Let me just tell you, I'm gonna give you two examples. This year we were able to pass a bill that actually increases the power and the position and the opportunities for Ms. Bedford, for MMG, for Stanley Tucker, for Tim Smoot, because it allows them to make guaranteed loans similar to the 8A. That was a bill that I sponsored.
Does that mean more people can get these loans?
That's exactly right.
Okay. Because Stanley's not giving up that money.
No, we ain't giving money away.
Yeah, he's not giving it away.
This is a business proposition.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
But we wanted to give them more flexibility to leverage a program that was similar to the 8A program, so they could go out and go to M&T, or they could go to Bank of America, and they could say, you know what, you're going to give the loan, we're going to guarantee it, just like the 8A.
Okay. So you feel you able to do even more than just being a lawyer for these small businesses? You now can use Annapolis and that whole apparatus.
Absolutely. The governor's procurement reform bill, that became a bill of the Legislative Black Caucus. That became a bill of the Legislative Black Caucus because we understood the components of that procurement reform would benefit minority businesses.
Okay. Now I got to put this out there. Is MBE the only way you can help black businesses?
Well, absolutely not. So we've got the power of the state purse, and we want them to look at businesses that are run and operated by black people. And so we're going to put pressure on the secretaries, on the procurement officials, with or without an MBE law. There's this famous story, if you will, right? And I heard Mayor Jackson down in Atlanta sing this.
Maynard?
He said, if you want to build it, then you got to come through me, because I have the power of the curb cut.
What's the curb cut?
Any construction project, you got to get a curb cut, right? And to get a curb cut, what do you need? I need a permit. His whole point is, if I'm in charge, there are people that work for me that you're going to need to go through to get anything done. So as you're getting those things done, I'm going to be looking at how well you do when it comes to people that look like me.
Okay.
So if I have people in position, if I have the CEO of the airport, if I have the head of the Maryland Department of MDTA, the Transportation Authority, I'm expecting them to look at a project and say, are you doing right by the people who look like me.
Okay, so that takes me straight on over to Sparrows Point and this thing that came out. I'm thinking about Senator Sid Norris and
Senator
Carl
Sid Norris?
Jackson.
Yes, sir.
I heard Senator Mary Washington. But then today, I was talking to LaFon Porter, and he mentioned his Sigma brother
Yes, sir.
in Scott Phillips. Now, I had to give him a little education, too, on the National Labor Union movement. I asked him, did he know about Isaac Myers at the bottom of Caroline Street?
There you go.
And that whole ship caulkers union, and then Frederick Douglass took over that, and then your frat brother, A. Philip Randolph.
That's right. When you talk about the porters,
Yeah.
porters?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
that's that whole National Labor Union movement.
Yeah. The strength of the labor union movement, it's clear that it would never be as strong as it is today without the input from African Americans. Mm-hmm. We wouldn't have had a march on Washington without the union movement, particularly A. Philip Randolph.
Mm-hmm. So when we fast forward to Trade Point Atlantic and the Black Yacht Club, Pleasant Yacht Club.
Pleasant Yacht Club. The history behind that is amazing. About 10 years ago, Trade Point Atlantic began pressuring Pleasant Yacht Club, and they were trying to take them out there, right? And I was made aware of it. I was actually the head of the planning board at the time. And so one of the Commodores, Derek Jones, came to me and said something. I said, let's go see Adrian Jones, who was then Speaker Pro Tem. We began asking questions in Trade Point, and they backed up. We're now 10 years later, another opening occurs, and they decide not only are they going to take Pleasant, but they're going to take North Point, the White Yacht Club, historically, and the Black Yacht Club, historically. At the end of the day, LaFon did an amazing job of making us aware as elected officials that this was taking place. He really laid out the argument for why Trade Point Atlantic didn't have to do any of the things that they were talking about at all. To the senators' credit, Jackson, Washington, and Sidney, right? They began applying pressure.
As we should.
As we should.
This is 2025.
Absolutely.
I mean, you look at the history of how this yacht club was built, Sparrows Point, and you think about all of our
They
elders
built it
and
with their
ancestors.
hands, Donnie.
Yeah.
They built it with their own hands.
Yeah. So Trade Point Atlantic is on point. And we gotta acknowledge Derek Jones. That's a Dunbar poet
Exactly.
and a film director.
Absolutely.
And he's big on supporting BMoreNews, just like you have been over the years. So
Donnie, let me just say this, because I don't want to get away
Yeah.
from here without saying this. This legislative session was pretty powerful, right? What did the Legislative Black Caucus do? We got second look pass, which is an opportunity for brothers that have been in jail for 20 years to have their sentences reviewed with the potential of getting out.
amen.
We got the reparations study passed. The commission will be formed. We got that passed. As I said, we got procurement reform passed. I had to sit back and I had to think about it, right? Because when you're going through the 90 days, it's drudgery. It's hard. It's hard, right? But then you sit back and say, what's our impact? We got a budget passed that people thought at the beginning of this, it was going to be draconian, that everybody was going to be paying significantly more in taxes. That's actually not the case. And we didn't take money away from our schools. We're still educating our kids. I had to think about it for the last 48 hours in Maryland. I was at the Baltimore County School Board yesterday, and I'm supporting the Baltimore County School Board and the superintendent because I know how important our children are. I left there last night quoting my friend Elijah Cummings. And I said, whatever we do, whether it's this focus on Pleasant Yacht Club, because that's our history, whether it's the focus on reparations, because potentially that's our history and our future, whatever we do, we always have to remember everything we do, that this is about our children. Because our children are the messengers we send to the future we will never see. And that's what I'm all about right now.
Good deal, man. Big up to your family for
Big up to
supporting
you,
you. And Let's keep it going.
Always, my brother.
Yes, sir.
Always.
30 years, man. 30 years of friendship.
That household finance. You did well, my brother.
Yes, sir. You taught me well. Keep watching the Donnie Glover Show. We'll be back. Thank you. You know Frank Johnson?
I don't think I know Frank Johnson.